I'm John Farrell from the Arctic Research Commission. I have a question for John. John, I'm curious about when you do your documents like the Environmental Atlas of Alaska or the utility documents and so on, because there's a really interesting project at UAF that I'm just curious if you're aware of. Scott Ruppin, others are leading, and it's called the Arctic Environmental Engineering Data Design Support System. And to me, it's an rapidly changing environmental conditions to try to help engineers. And I'm just curious, to what extent do you think industry like your company might be looking to that as you plan infrastructure in the future?
First, I want to say thank you. I'll pay you later, John.
No, I'll say that we're very excited about that effort. Margaret Darrow bothered me to fill out the survey. That wasn't that arduous, but it's just one of those things. And I'm very excited personally and professionally that's moving forward, because the environmental atlas that you mentioned is woefully outdated. And if you see that as a reference in any of your engineering documents, I would recommend calling a second opinion, because that was a good historical document, but if we're utilizing that now, we're missing the mark.
That's great. Don't know how that might impact.
Yeah, and I'm actually personally involved in that. I skipped a meeting this morning with Krell. I'm rewriting the foundations portion of the UFC, so foundations on permafrost, and so we're helping Kevin and his team with the development of that document.
Here, thanks a lot.
Yeah. Anyone else? Any other questions? Oh.
Edith Nile. I've been a resident in Barrow since 1956. What are you doing for the luxury ship that are dumping trash into the ocean? It has been known that that is one of the many problems of the change of climate. We grew up, respect the land. They didn't have to tell us. They didn't have to talk to us. They kept our camp areas clean, and it was always natural for us living up here in Ipiaq to do that naturally. So I'm very, very concerned about the possibility of those houses falling down there by Oliver, property. So what can we do as residents to make sure that people are being, they didn't know about this conference. I just found out an hour before you had that dance over there at IHLC. So would appreciate more flyers. I think people would come here because we're very concerned about the climate change. Thank you.
Well, first, I'd like to thank you for bringing that up. I think it is a huge concern, and it's a global concern, because it affects all the Arctic nations, and it just as it affects the local Arctic residents. So it is something that has been discussed at great lengths at some of the meetings that I've been at other Arctic nations where scientists gather. So it is of concern, and it's being addressed certainly at the scientific level. And I agree with you. It's something that needs to be changed. And as far as what we can do locally. I'm not sure what that, I think you probably know better than I do what we could do locally. And so I defer to you on that. But for the science part of it, it is being addressed by many different groups, specifically both in the US, but in Norway and in Iceland as well. So
That's what really needs to be going on right now.
yes,
The whole world is being affected, not just up here.
yes,
So, and also you don't need new architects or whatever. I'm sorry, I have to say this. New architectural offices, big offices, whatever. There's a scientific building over there. I'm pretty sure they would let you go in there and do your job up here and like working together as people.
Yeah.
As nations, and to see what can we do as a world.
yeah, I agree with you. Thank you. And I do think that we should bring in our elected officials, our at the local, tribal, state level to have conversations about that because it is of grave concern. Agreed.
Any other questions? Well, with that, one last round of applause for our panel.